by Expats Portugal. Jerry, Carl and I are really excited to have you all here this evening. My name is Astrid and I'm one of the directors at Expats Portugal. Originally from Australia, if you can't pick the accent, and moved to Portugal in 2012. I spend my time between Sintra, outside Lisbon, and our country home in Castelo de Vide in the Alto Alentejo. Tonight we're going to be discussing what needs to happen now to beat the clock to Brexit and hopefully for you to be able to call Portugal home sooner than later. Just as some housekeeping, everyone will be muted during the event so that everyone can hear the discussion very clearly. If you've got questions, please send them via the chat function. But please make sure that you send it to everybody so that everyone can see your question and to avoid any double ups. We will be recording tonight's webinar, which will later go up on the Expats Portugal website and also on our YouTube channel. So if you do want to remain anonymous or not be seen, now's the time to turn off your camera function. We would also love to know where you're joining us from. So please add your location in the chat box and say hello. Over to you, Jerry.
Thanks, Astrid. Hello, everybody. Good evening and welcome. My name is Jerry Lawler. I'm the co-director with Astrid of expatsportugal.com, which was founded in 2005 by a gentleman who's now sadly passed away. Astrid and I took over the business in September of last year. We've worked very hard to carry on the community spirit that was started by Simon. When we took on the business, we had about, I think, 6,000 members. We're now rapidly closing on 7,000 members, and a huge interest, an absolute surge of interest from people, particularly from the UK and from the USA, who are looking to relocate to Portugal. I've had a home here since 2005. I moved here permanently in 2015. I lived in the Algarve, on the East Algarve for the first 3 years, and then moved to where I am now in central Portugal, near Tomar, between Tomar and Coimbra. I'm actually an Irishman by birth, so I'm very lucky to have an EU passport and don't have the issues that some of our British friends and colleagues are having. It's my great pleasure to hand you over to Gilda from EI Migration, who are specialists in helping people with the move to Portugal from anywhere in the world. But tonight's focus is going to be particularly about moving here and perhaps being a step ahead of what might happen with Brexit looming. And so I'll pass you over to our excellent host, Carl, now, who will take over and conduct tonight's conversation. Thank you, Carl.
Thanks, Jerry. Thanks, Astrid. Hi, Gilda. How are you? Lovely to speak to you again.
Hi, Carl. Good evening, everybody.
Now, actually, yeah, while we're looking in the chat here, Cotswolds, UK, Hampshire, UK, Kuwait, UK. Oh no, Les from Kuwait, Ontario, Canada. Okay, interesting. And Wales and Algeciras, west coast of Portugal. So an interesting mix of people tonight. And the focus, as Jerry said there, Brits wanting to come to Portugal before the end of the year. Gilda, what is it like in your office at the moment? Are you getting lots of calls from British people?
Yes, I am all the time. I think that people just woke up for this reality now. The Brexit came official in January, but there is this transaction period until the end of the year, where UK citizens can still apply for the residency as European Union citizens, which is a kind of a simple process. So they are running out of time. And, there are many people trying to do it last minute, because what is going to happen after December this year, no one knows. Is the UK going to be treated as a third country like other countries? Are they going to need to apply for a resident visa if they want to come here. No one knows at the moment, probably yes. The only thing that we are sure is that they will grant an exemption for tourists for 90 days. So if you want to come as a tourist for 90 days, you won't need a visa. And that's the only thing that we know for now. As you may know, the British tourism in Portugal is very important. And also the relationships between the two countries are very important for both countries. The Portuguese is the ninth nationality, foreign nationality of foreign people living in the UK, around 400,000. And last year, the British citizens occupied the second place of foreigners living in Portugal, just after Brazilians.
Wow,
amazing, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely right. Yeah, and you would think, wouldn't you, that with such a large Portuguese community in the UK, that bodes well for reciprocal arrangements. But just to take you back a little bit, you said the 90-day tourism window, if you like, is the only thing we know at the moment. That's the only thing we know at the moment. There is nothing else official from either government.
There is nothing. Yeah, no, there is nothing else
Okay.
official. No one knows how it's going to work after the end of December.
Wow, what a year this is. So in the absence of that official guidance, guidelines, legislation, whatever you might call that, I'm presuming it's best to carry on as usual in the way that a British person would apply if there was no limit. Obviously there is coming at the end of the year, but is that your advice to people, is to do what British people would have ordinarily done in this process?
Yes, that is my advice. I receive many emails and many phone calls from people saying that they were planning to move next year, and my advice is no one knows how it's going to work next year. So you should speed your plans and try to do the process until the end of December, which is a quite simple process. If you want, I can start and go through the process to explain.
I would love that. I'm sure everybody, there's a lot of nodding heads in the Zoom windows here, so let's definitely do that. Also, please ask your specific questions if you've got particular circumstances that go beyond the generalities of the process that Gilda would be describing to us.
Yes, I'm going to explain. Sorry, I'm going to explain the step plan, and if you have any questions, I will answer after.
Perfect. Thank you, Gilda.
Okay, so if you are my clients and you are thinking about moving to Portugal now or in the near future, I would advise you to play the rules that we have today, and that are the rules that we know, and to play with the certainty that we have today. In case you should come to Portugal, and the first step is to get a Portuguese tax number, an IF, at a tax office. After getting this Portuguese tax number, you should go and open a Portuguese bank account and put some savings there, because afterwards you would need to show that you have means to sustain yourself in Portugal. So after the NIF and the bank account, you should find a property either to rent or to buy. If you are as you are in the hurry until the end of the year, I would strongly advise you to take a rental agreement to do the process. And then if you want to buy a house, you should do it with more time, not in a rush. So my advice would be pick a lease agreement for at least 1 year, because if it's going to be less than that, the city hall, the municipality may not accept. Okay, so you have the NIF, you have the bank account, you have the lease agreement. What to do next? you should go to the city hall from your address, from the place that you rent, okay? And then you should apply for the certificate of European Union resident in Portugal.
Yeah.
And to get this certificate is quite easy. You should go to the city hall with your NIF, with your lease agreements, with the proof of your earnings, savings, and income. That is why it's important to take some bank statements. Sometimes they don't even look at it, but it's by law they can ask you. So I advise you to bring that with you. And then after this registration made in the town hall, they will give you a certificate saying that you are an European citizen living in Portugal. And this certificate is valid for 5 years, okay? But you can only apply for it until the 31st of December this year, okay?
Okay.
With this certificate, there are some rights that you are still going to have as it would be a European citizen, okay, from the European Union. And these rights are, you would be entitled to the Portuguese public health care. You would be entitled to the public education or your kids. If you are studying in a university, you will still pay as a European Union citizen because the rate is different. You are also entitled to social security benefits. Okay, and you can switch the driving license, the UK driving license, the Portuguese driving license, without going through a new test. Okay.
That's a relief.
So, yeah. So that, and then after you have this residence, that it's going to be valid for 5 years. Okay. And this doesn't mean you need to be here. You can come to Portugal, make this lease, take care of all these steps that I told you about. It's also important to make the enrollment in the healthcare center near to your lease agreement or to your property. Okay, so they can grant you what is called número do utente. It's to be entitled to the public health care.
Yeah.
And then after this 5 years, and then you can go to the UK, because the only thing that they demand is that you stay in Portugal for more than 6 months. So you can go to the UK and then you come back and you take care of the things that you need to take care more calmly, okay, after December. But at least you have already a 5-year residence certificate that afterwards, after the 5 year, it can turn into a permanent resident card. That it's not really permanent, it's valid for 10 years. And then you can also apply for the Portuguese citizenship.
Okay, perfect. So there's our step-by-step there then. The NIF number first, then a bank account, then a property, either a purchase or a rental. But I understand your little caveat there that at the moment it's probably good to get a lease agreement and a rental because buying is going to take a while, probably longer than the
Yes.
time will allow until the end of the year. Then when you have those 3 things, take them and all your other personal ID documents is what I would recommend.
Yes, the passports and of course.
Yes, thank you, Lisa, for your translation there. To the camera is what you need, which is the town hall, the municipal centre for administration. So that's the process, which will then lead you to a 5-year residency document. If you do it before the end of the year, obviously is what we're talking about tonight. It's the best thing to do. And what I wasn't sure about was the 6-month thing. You have to be here for 6 months of each year, or just 6 months of that 5 years?
Well, by law, it should be 6 months in a year.
Okay.
Because you need, and there is another aspect that we need to explain here. When you go to the city hall with your Portuguese tax number, this Portuguese tax number needs to be already registered as a tax resident, okay? So they will grant you the certificate, the resident certificate, but you need to become a tax resident in Portugal, okay? And that's why to be a tax resident in Portugal, you need to stay 6 months and 1 day, and every year to keep your residency. I may say that sometimes it's difficult for them to track that out, but by law, you need to comply with the 6 months and 1 year. And talking about this change of the tax residence, this brings us to another subject, which is the non-habitual resident, okay? Once you apply for your Portuguese tax number, you will do it with your British address because you don't have one in Portugal. And then after your lease, you may go to the tax office and change your address to Portugal, and then you will become tax resident in Portugal. After that, you can apply for the non-habitual resident status. And what is that? That is a program, a tax program that will grant you the tax benefits, okay? This means that you are not going to be taxed on dividends, interests, rental or pension income from your own country or countries, and real estate capital gains. You will be exempt from this taxation. Regarding the pension, they are now having a discussion if it should be or not applicable rate of 10% on the pension.
Right.
Okay, it may happen because France and Italy, they pushed the Portuguese government a lot to do that, because French were coming and many Italians were coming, because with the non-habitual resident program, they would be tax exempt on their pensions. So there was a big pressure for Portugal to change that. They tried to delay, but I think starting this year or next year, they will start to apply 10% on the pensions.
Okay.
Just to make the other countries happy.
Yes. Okay. All right. So effectively a double taxation there.
No,
Okay.
there is a treaty. There is a treaty between Portugal and the UK. So maybe if the treaty applies, you don't have to pay it. Okay, so it needs to be seen case by case. But there is a chance that it's not applicable because of the treaty. Okay.
Excellent. All right. So quite a lot of detail. Do ask your questions. Any clarification you need, do ask in the comments. Somebody was asking the company that Gilda works for, and that would be Migrante. I will spell that out for people who might be listening later, podcast and so on. So that would be all the W's then, EIMI grante.pt. And I pronounce that migrante.pt. How have I done with that, Gilda?
Yeah, it's
Not
okay.
too bad. Okay. All right. And the details, of course, are in the Expats Portugal business directory, and you will get 10% off Gilda's professional fees if you become a premium member, which I understand only cost you €25 anyway, and there are a bunch of other benefits as well. Great question from Jenny. Hi to you, Jenny, this evening. I've been invited to house sit from the 15th of October to the 16th of January, which will see you into the that threshold there. Then we will look for a plot. Would the house sit satisfy the accommodation requirement, Gilda?
I didn't understand what was this house.
Oh, okay. I quite like this. This is the first thing that I did when I first came to Portugal, and it was looking after somebody's house for them while they were away. So the essential question here, I suppose, the essence of this question is, does that count as an official residence in Portugal for the process of applying? And as I understand it, from the little bit of research and experience I've got, it's to do with the attestado, isn't it? If it can be proven that you're living there, that's what's
Yes.
required.
There are two ways. There are two ways to comply. There are two ways to comply with the proof of residence in that case. It can either be an estado from Junta de Freguesia, okay, but they may ask for two witnesses that live in that freguesia, or it can be a contrato de comunidade. What is that? It's a contract from the owners of the house saying that they let you stay there for free.
Yeah. Okay.
So these are the two ways that you can go around that.
Perfect. So the attestado, and yeah, I did have an experience of going along with the homeowner where I was staying and being introduced to the freguesia. I think the main person there, which was great. And I guess it's that sort of process, isn't it, where the person who owns the house would take you along just to prove that you are staying in their property. You throw another word in there, the freguesia. That is the parish level, isn't it, of administration? So the Câmara is the town hall of the municipality, and then the freguesias are like the parish offices, yeah, for administration.
Exactly, you're right.
Perfect.
Yeah, that's
perfect.
it.
Okay. And you mentioned as well, Gilda, what's the time recommended, the minimum time for the lease? I think you said a year, didn't you? Ideally, is what is being looked. Okay. All right. So 12 months on.
And I'm going to explain you why. I'm going to explain you why. Because when you go to the office to change your address to Portugal, which is mandatory to get this certificate, you need to prove the intention that you are going to stay for more than 6 months. Okay. So if it's a 6 months agreement, they might deny that. And it's not usual to have an 8 months or a 9 months agreement. So I think 1 year, it's the safest way to go.
Okay, excellent. So but technically you're looking for a 6 month and 1 day tenancy basically, but it would look better if it was a year, obviously.
Yes.
Great question from Didi and Jason in this process. Good evening to you both. Can you get a bank account without an address? Or can you use your UK address basically to get a bank account? It seems the bank account came before getting the rental agreement. So presumably you would just use your UK address to open a bank account.
Yes. We work with the partnership with the Millennium BCP, and they are used to help our clients to get a bank account open without an address. So what they usually do is that they open with an address UK or another country, and they put for communications our office. Okay, to get the card, because otherwise the card would go to the address in the UK or other country. So it's possible.
Okay, brilliant. So that's all part of your service, obviously, there. Karen says, I'm moving October the 19th and was going to stay in an Airbnb. Can I use that address to register as a resident? I guess that
No,
the relationship. No, okay, so no. That doesn't sound like that's going to work, Karen. From David, and, you know, I mean, feel free to ask another question about a way to have this happen positively and usefully for you. David, if we are a couple who are currently not married, do we both need to get the residence individually? Can we get a joint bank account and a joint lease agreement to satisfy the requirements? I mean, I think all residencies are individual applications anyway, aren't they? And can unmarried people get a joint bank account together?
Yes, they can. They can. And they can also get a joint lease agreement together.
Okay, so that'll be fine. But in any case, married or not, everyone applies individually for this process, right? It's not done as a couple.
Yes, the thing that may happen is that sometimes one of the spouse is from the European country and the other is from a third country, and then the process is different.
Oh, okay.
Like the husband is from UK, he's going to do this process, and then the wife is from Argentina, then she needs to do another process, not this one.
All right, great. Thanks for clarifying that. Great question from Tom tonight, to Tom Forbes. How do you go about switching your driving license, Gilda?
About the driving license?
Yeah. How do you do the switch on that once you've gone through this process?
I'm not a special on the driving license because I have someone in my office that does that. That is Carla. She's very nice. Some of you may know her.
Yes, I do.
I don't really know. I don't really know how it works. I say you need to. I know that you need a certification that from the UK stating that your driving license is the real one.
Yep.
And then you go to EMT and with the residency and they switch. You have to deliver one and they give you a Portuguese one. It's
Jerry,
not that simple, and then you need to do a test, medical test there. But I'm not the right person to talk about this because I have one person in my office that only does that.
Right, Jerry.
May I jump in, having fairly recently done this? Firstly, you get a medical certificate from a GP here in Portugal. I think that's mainly a certificate of sanity, rather than necessarily health. Although if you make the mistake and wear glasses, they already put you must wear glasses when you're driving and stuff like that. But then you take that and your driving license to the IMT. Prepare yourself for a very long day, bring food and lots of water because you'll need it. And you sit it out and wait for your number to be called, and you go up with actually the GP completes your details onto the system, which the IMT can then access when you go there. He gives you a number and you can access it from there. And then they will take your driving license. They'll give you a piece of paper to confirm that you're in the process of converting a license. And with luck, 2 or 3 weeks later, your new Portuguese driving license will arrive in the post.
Yes.
There are 1 or 2 other anomalies that, particularly with the UK, that I'm aware of, where approval to drive certain vehicles in the UK doesn't necessarily follow over to Portugal. It's mainly about larger vehicles and I think some forms of motorcycles, but generally a standard driving license will allow you to drive what we in the UK we call mopeds, I think up to 125cc and any regular car or van.
Great, Jerry. Thank you for that from your personal experience. And I can concur with that. And yes, you have your photograph taken, don't you, at the time of application?
Yes. Yes.
That's done in the office with their technology. So you don't have to worry about getting photos signed by professionals and all that sort of stuff. So they'll take the photograph for you in the office. And yeah, my experience is very similar to yours, Jerry. And congratulations on that.
Thank you.
And
And by the way, I did pass the sanity test before you ask.
That's what I was referring to.
Oh, I see.
And Jerry, if someone gets this service from our office, Carla will guide in all the process, and she will stay in line in EMT for you, and she will long call when needed. So
Gilda,
she will make all the appointments.
I wish I'd known you before I started this process.
Yeah.
Same here.
No, but you made it. You should be proud.
I am proud, yes, yes.
David asks, did I understand that if you get the 5-year residency permit, you must then stay in Portugal for at least 6 months? That is the case. I hope that's clear now. Would you agree, Gilda?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. I have a UK passport but live in Canada, says Paul. I heard I might need a sponsor to get a NIF. Can you hire a sponsor? I mean, in the first instance, is it true that you need a sponsor? And then if you do, can one be hired to get a NIF?
Yes, it's true he needs a sponsor because his address is outside of the European Union. So it's mandatory to have a sponsor, but our office can do that. It's also a service that we offer.
Great, excellent. Okay, Karen.
And also, I'm sorry to interrupt you, Carl, but I read some the questions here. People are worried about the time, and there are certain things that we can do to gain time. As we can get the NIF on your behalf with the power of attorney without you needing to be here.
Oh.
Okay, and we can also start to rearrange the bank account. We put you in touch with the bank. We supply the bank with the main document, which will be copy of the passport and the NIF, the tax number, and then the bank will get in touch and will mail you the papers and ask for the signatures to be notarized and sent back to the bank. So there are certain things that we can do remotely. What we cannot do remotely, the lease agreement, or we can search for the house and talk with the owner or with the real estate. And then when the person comes, already has the NIF, already has the bank account, only sees the apartment or the house, and if they like, they sign the agreement. Okay, and then it needs to go in person to the city hall to register. But there are some steps we can do remotely to gain some time.
Fantastic. And all the details, Vanda very kindly has put all the details of your company in there. And when we've spoken before, I was amazed at how available you are to clients without much gatekeeping at all, and answering calls all times of the night and day by the sound of it. So an excellent service as far as I could make out. Karen says, I do not have a UK address. I was working in the US, but I am a UK citizen. I think it's the same for the person who was living in Canada there. I hope that's answered your question, the answer that was given to Paul there. Karen, let us know if it wasn't. Didi and Jason,
Yes, it's the same.
Okay, great. Can you clarify, please, if I come to Portugal next week and sort out all the paperwork and then come back to the UK until January, is that okay? Will I still qualify? Or do I have to stay in Portugal for 6 months once I have the residency paper? Okay, I think I understand that. Do you, Gilda?
Yes, I understand. No, you can come next week, take care of everything, and then you go, and then you come back in January. As long as you stay in the year, as long as you stay 6 months. It doesn't need to be 6 months from now, starting.
Yeah, okay. And a good question from Audrey. How much is the minimum what sort of amount of money in the bank is going to impress the person who might look at it? I guess is the question here.
There is not a minimum stated by law. What they usually the account that they mentally do is that they usually use one minimum Portuguese wage multiplied by 12. So that would be around 7,800 euro.
Okay, thank you for that. I hope that helps.
But
you.
it's not straightforward. It can be less.
Okay, but I guess some proof of what is the point here, isn't it?
Yes, yes.
Okay. Here, greetings from Ron. I currently have a Portuguese nationality. So this is going beyond the 5 years, I'm guessing here. Request pending since March 2019. I think, I don't know, Ron, if that's a question or just a statement of what's going on for you, but is that the sort of timescale people will wait, Gilda, to have a nationality request pending for that long?
Yes, unfortunately, yes. What we have been doing in our office, because as you know, we work with Daniel that already had a webinar here with you, and they are very specialized in nationality. What we usually do is that when I don't know if he has a lawyer in the case, but if a lawyer sends a letter asking why it's taking so long and that they need the nationality for some certain reason, usually they do it quicker. But it can happen or they can ignore it. But usually they answer. We've been successfully for the last 6-7 times we did it.
Okay, brilliant. And yeah, okay, so we'll move on to iPad 4. You know who you are. Oh yeah, I see you there. Our situation is a bit complicated. My husband will be arriving in Portugal in around the second week of December. Will there be enough time? That's a great question from the point of view of, it's a little bit like, I'm coming to Portugal in August. Will I be able to get into government offices? Will everybody be on holiday? You know, we are looking at a 31st of December deadline, but is everything going to shut down in the second week of or first week of December anyway?
Things can go slower. What I would advise her to do is to take the remote services that she can do, to start doing them, like the Lease and bank account, and they can hire as the house searching also. And then when she comes, she goes and visits the place, she closes the agreement, and then 2 weeks should be enough of the process.
Yeah.
For the whole process, I think it's too short, almost impossible. But if we can do half of it, if we can start working now with that deadline, I think it can work.
Okay, so you're a bit of a pathfinder reconnaissance person. If you come ahead and then do all the work, and then hubby can just turn up and take the credit after that, I guess, would be one way of approaching it. And whilst things might be a bit slower in Portugal in December, I think there'll be a lot of goodwill. It's always a joyful time, as in my sort of brief experience here. So yeah, it swings and roundabouts there. Because of Corona, I will not be able. From the same question here, same people. Because of the Corona, I'll not be able to leave Kuwait until June next year. Oh, okay. Where do I stand? I suppose the situation there is, this is sort of crystal ball territory now, isn't it? But will the Portuguese government make any allowance for the delays that have been caused by the pandemic? Is that your experience?
We don't know yet.
Okay.
We don't know yet.
Okay, sorry, iPad 4, can't be any more helpful than that at this time. Will a letter stating there is an intention to employ in Portugal based on specialist skills suffice for the paperwork requirements? Mike, is that in terms of income? Is that why you're asking that? But do letters of...
yeah, I believe so. I believe so. Okay, I understand the question. Yes, it's possible if you go with all the other documents to the city hall, and then instead of the bank statements, if you show that letter, it should be okay. Mm-hmm. I've done it before and it worked. But although it should state the income that you are going to earn.
Okay, good.
It should be.
Yeah, and that'll be helpful. And like we alluded to before, you know, take everything with you that you think might be useful. I think it's really helpful to take all your admin with you. If you're not an organized person, become one. And that's what I've had to do in Portugal anyway. I've got myself a concertina file and everything goes in there, and I take it to just about even out for lunch sometimes, just to be sure. Um, um, will you be able to use the Portuguese license in the UK? This is a good question as well. It's from the same folks there, as you will have to relinquish the British one. So that's what's happened for you and me, Jerry, isn't it? Is that you swap. You don't have both, you swap. So presumably, we don't really know, do we, what the situation will be? But we can assume that when we go back to the UK, we'll be able to use the EU driving license.
Well, I have used my Portuguese driving license to rent cars without problem in Ireland, the UK, and the USA since I acquired that license. So it's not a problem. It really isn't.
Okay, perfect. That's great. First person testimony and experience there, which I'm sure will be helpful. And on licenses again, is there an age limit for getting the driving license? That's another great question. I don't know if you would know that, Gilda. Your specialist would know the answer.
I don't know. Vanda, if you're listening to me, can you ask Carla if there is an age for that?
All right, so we're going to find out.
There is a limit. Yeah. If you could do that, would be great, Vanda.
Brilliant. We will do our best to find out.
Yes, of course. I'm going to ask right away.
Thank you.
That's amazing. That's like Siri, isn't it? You just have to say, Vanda, can you do this or that for me? And then speaks up in the background. That's fantastic. Any chance of a coffee? Oh, no,
yeah.
This is the best team in town.
I can tell.
No, it really is.
Brilliant.
So
okay.
I'm going to ask right away.
Oh, wow.
70 years in UK, then renew. I don't know.
While we're waiting for that, I just wanted to add a comment for Mr. and Mrs. iPad. Next week at this time, we have an open chat with the British Embassy, and I think your questions would be very pertinent for them if you can make that event.
Yeah, we were very privileged to be in the company of the embassy this time next week. So that's well worth signing up for, and you can do that via expatsportugal.com, same way that you did with this one. Here's a really good experience that Gavin's had on the phone to the Lagos Finances today. After days of trying to get through to them, the lady I spoke to said email them and with ID and a utility bill, and they will issue by email. I'm guessing that's for the NIF number though, rather than the full-on.
Yes.
Okay.
And it's possible if the address is from the European country, it's possible to do like that. If the person is not living in an European country, then they will need someone to be a sponsor, what they call a representante fiscal.
Oh, okay. All right. It's still able to use the benefits of being in the EU there for the time that we have remaining. Good question, Audrey. I thought you had to have been renting for 3 months before registration. Am I wrong? I think this is to do with the 90 days, isn't it? That you should have registered anyway if you're going to be here for longer than 90 days, right?
Yes. After 90 days, it's mandatory. Yeah, before you are free to do it or not.
Okay, but here Audrey asking specifically, should she have been renting in those 3 months, and does she need to show that? Well, I'm not sure if you heard me there.
I didn't understand the question.
The question is...
I heard, I didn't understand.
I think what Audrey's asking is if she needs to prove that she's been renting for 3 months before registration.
No,
No, okay.
no.
So you
It
just need.
doesn't prove 3 months before registration.
Okay, so it's at the
Yeah,
time.
you just need to have a contract.
Okay, at the time of registration.
Then they are. Yes.
Okay. All right. Well, I think that kind of wraps up the questions that have come in via the chat there, and gives us a chance to add anything else, Gilda, that's occurred to you during our conversation there, and perhaps we could. This is such a time of uncertainty. I think it's quite useful maybe to run through the process again, and any other thoughts that have come up for you during this process tonight. Shall I paraphrase or sum up, or shall I leave it to you, the expert?
I don't know. I think you can try, Carl, and then I will correct you if something is not.
I let myself in for that, really, didn't I? So number one, everybody, go get yourself a NIF number from Finanza, as was suggested there by, who was that? Who was talking to the Lagos Finanzas? That was Gavin. So get your NIF number first. Also known, in my experience, as the contribuent that you get asked for in Lidl and other places. So it's your fiscal number, basically. It does have a few kind of different names. Then get yourself a bank account. After that, you need a property lease or proof of owning a property. And what Gilda is saying to us is it's going to be better probably to get a lease because there's not going to be enough time to buy before the 31st of December. Then when you have all those three things, you can go to the camera. You don't have to wait 90 days. You can go to the camera and you ask for your EU residency document, which is, from my own experience, is a great moment. It's a lovely single piece of A4 that shows that you have
Yeah.
successfully applied, and that will give you access to health, education, social security, the driving license swap, and I can't read my other notes, but I think I did okay there.
Yes, I think you did everything. And the public healthcare, did you say the public healthcare?
Yeah, I believe so. But public
Yeah.
healthcare for sure. Wonderful. Okay.
Another thing that I didn't mention that goes on there, you can also have, for instance, if if you have a profession or a job that needs to be certified in Portugal, it can be done also, because it's different for European countries, European Union countries or not. So it is also a right that you are entitled if you have the 5 years residence.
Oh, tell us more about that then. So what are these?
I didn't mention this before.
No, tell us more. So what are those professions, as an example?
Engineer, architects, I believe that nurses also.
Okay,
almost all. I have doubts on lawyers and doctors because they may have some financial advisor. Yes.
All right.
I saw Jerry ask.
The professions as we would know them then. Okay. And the other thing that we've discovered tonight that's a possible way of proving residency, as in that you've got a place to live, is that rather nifty device. I can't remember who it was who said it early on, but doing a house sit. And there may be opportunities for that across Portugal, of course. And if you can get the people who own the house to go with you, or in some way prove that you are living in that house to the satisfaction of the freguesia, which is then to the satisfaction of the camera, that would be another alternative as well.
Yes, or the truck that I told us, that it's like a rental agreement, but without paying a rent.
Yes. Yeah.
Saying I can borrow my house.
Okay. So, could you use a temporary lease for 12 months to apply for NHR, but not be in Portugal? This is quite a technical one, but not be in Portugal for another 6 months. Would this draw a line in the sand that you have applied prior to withdrawal? I'm not sure I understand that, but I think you might, Gilda.
Yeah. Yes, you can use a temporary lease agreement, 12 months, to apply for the NHR, okay? Long as you stay 6 months and 1 day.
Okay. Yes. All right. Hope that helps, Gavin. And I think we've nailed it there. Given that it's such an uncertain and anxiety-provoking situation that we're in, I think you've done an amazing job, Gilda, there in making it as straightforward and simple as possible as a step-by-step. I hope that has been useful. I trust it has been useful to everybody. And of course, the fast track here is to get involved with Gilda's professional services and take a whole lot of headache and heartache out of the process, I suspect. As you can hear from me and Jerry there, we've been through it on a number of occasions with driving licenses, bank accounts. The NIF was very easy, I have to say, but you know, given that you're up against foreign language and a new culture, it is really nice to have someone that holds your hand or even take over parts of the process for you. As is usual, as we go into the last few minutes, we get a few more questions coming in. Ron says, great, clear explanations, many thanks, and thanks from Gavin there, Gilda. Does the 6 months have to be in one go? So it's this 6 month thing. Can I stay 1 month in each country and just keep alternating? That sounds like quite a nice lifestyle.
Yes, it can be. It can be. It doesn't work like that for third countries. They need to stay 6 months in a row or 8 months if not in a row. But for Europeans, it doesn't need to be 6 months in a row.
Okay. Well, thanks coming in from lots of people.
But I'm sorry to interrupt. Just to be clear here,
yeah.
This has more tax impact than other things. Okay, so if someone is thinking on doing that, you should back up yourself with the proof of every time that you are in Portugal. Okay. Like try to the first day you come to Portugal to take money from your bank account or make a movement on your bank account, and on the last day also, so you can prove that on that time you were in Portugal. Yes. Or find another way of proving it, because sometimes if the tax office makes questions and has doubts about it, then you will need to prove.
Very good. So a bit of a paper trail is useful in that instance. Okay, so lots of thanks and appreciation coming in for you, as there should be, Gilda. Thank you so much. I'll just give you your details one more time.
Thank you.
All the W's, Migrante, that's EIMIGRANTE.pt. Gilda's own, she's giving out her own personal email address here, Gilda.Pereira, GILDA.PEREIRA @emigrante.pt, which is I'll say it one more time, at EIMIGRANTE.pt. And you can find her, of course, and the company in the Expats Portugal business directory as well. So thanks, Gilda. Thank you so much. Can we do our customary thanks and jazz hands in the wind?
Just one last answering the last question that we asked Carla. She said there's no limit of age as long as you have a driving license from the UK. So if there is a limit, it's attached to your country, not ours. Okay.
Oh, interesting.
And yes, and if you will have access to my phone number, because Vanda put it here, but I kindly ask you not to call me after midnight, because on the last webinar I got some calls at 3 a.m.
Really? You know what?
Yes.
It was going so well, and now you don't want people to call you after midnight. I can't believe you say
that. No, it's okay. No, they can call. I'm not going to answer because I have to silence the phone. I will answer the other day. Just don't expect me to answer at 3 a.m.
Absolutely not, for sure.
But I will answer the next day.
I'm sure you will. You should be completely forgiven for asking for that. My goodness. Thank you so much. Much appreciated. Obrigado to you.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Okay, and back to Astrid, I think.
Thank you, everybody. Gilda, thank you very much. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Great. I couldn't tell, but I put a message there that if you are a premium member, and I know there's quite a few of them here today off our site, please just start me through an email, and I'll forward on you with Gilda just for your authorization for your discount of 10% off the fees. So yeah, just do that, and hopefully I think a lot of you, as Jerry said, will find the next week's webinar to be very useful about with the British Embassy. And please keep an eye on the calendar, because we've got a lot more being locked away. We've got a social catch up happening, and then we have another one about finding your perfect dream home and understanding the real estate law with Daniel Rees, and what you need to know before you actually sign that contract, so make sure that you're got the right advice. So please come and join that one as well. So that's it.
I have checked with the British Embassy. Dinner jackets and ball gowns are not required. It's quite casual and informal. Yeah, Malcolm has breathed a sigh of relief. You don't need to get the dinner jacket from the dry cleaners, Malcolm. It's going to be fine. It's going to be a very laid back and informal there.
But you do need a plate of Ferrero Rocher in front of you.
Obviously. Brilliant. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you, everybody. Thanks,
Thank
Gilda.
you.
Thanks, Carl. Thank you,
Nice to
Astrid.
meet
Thank you. Thank you.
Bye for now. I'm going to need to go to a wine tasting. This will be on the Expats Portugal Facebook page. It's like Gogglebox with wine.